Hi guys, good morning and thanks for joining. So in the last class, we discussed about network commands. So those network commands we will use regularly for incident investigation. But most of the cases, we will get everything in the alert notification itself. But very rare cases, maybe if we don't get the proper details, then we have to verify NS lookup and also ping command, most of the cases. So today topic is network architecture diagram. So this network architecture diagram, it's applicable to not only just on-premise or data center, this is applicable to even cloud as well. So whenever if you want to architect any design for any organization, so this is the way we have to follow. Only one thing on-premise versus cloud difference is in the cloud side, web application firewall will come into first place, and in the our on-premise environment, it will come in parallel to next generation firewall. That is the only difference. Remaining everything same as it is. So in the on-premise, in parallel to next generation firewall, we will keep it as a web application firewall. In the cloud environment, first thing is we have to keep web application firewall as a first component. Later, we will keep all these respective other networking components. So let's go and discuss in-depth analysis. Maybe, for example, if I want to develop one of the startup company. So in that scenario, how my on-premise deployment, how my data center I have to build up. So this is the way we have to design. This particular design is provided by Cisco basically. So coming back here, as per Cisco, so second one is the DMZ or DMZ, this firewall concept as well. And the third one is public or internet or external, yeah, or untrust. So these are the four names on the untrust side. Internal or trust, this is the first zone in our data center. So in our internal and trust zone, what are the different types of equipments we can deploy? All of our critical servers that is not facing to the internet, we have to deploy. Even if it is facing to the internet also, it's better to keep in the trust zone or internal zone. For example, I divided this particular entire LAN or entire network architecture diagram is divided into multiple LAN segmentation. First LAN segmentation is server LAN. So for server LAN, we will assign one of the IP address range. In the similar way, you can see here end user LAN. So this end user LAN is nothing but all the employees, whoever our internal stakeholders, basically other department people, that may be HR or legal or network admins or NOC, application development, product development, machine learning, data science, all those will fall under the end user LAN. Once again, if you want to make segregation based on the team wise, we can do virtual LAN configuration in the access switch. So that is the second LAN segmentation. Third LAN segmentation, non-critical servers, we can keep under the DMZ or DMZ zone. These servers will face to the internet. So if you want to make other segmentations, so yes, we can make like a database servers one segmentation. And if you are a part of our product development company, then SDLC life cycle. So design phase is one LAN segmentation, development phase is one LAN segmentation, testing environment one segmentation. According to our own requirement, we can go and we can configure the completely LAN segmentation point of view. So whatever we are configuring, everything it will fall under three zones. Those three zones are either internal or trust or DMZ or DMZ. And third one is public or external or internet or untrust. So these are all the three different types of zones. Non-critical servers meaning here it is facing to the internet like app server or web server. So and also wherever non-critical data is existing. So it is not that much important to the organization point of view. So for example, maybe SaaS-based application. SaaS-based application, everybody can access from anywhere. That may be ServiceNow, that may be Jira, that may be, so email gateways, that may be any other Nessus tools or vulnerability management tools. All those will fall under like a non-critical servers or tools. Those things we can keep under the DMZ or DMZ zone. So coming back here, how these server LAN and what are the critical servers every organization it will maintain. So you can see here Active Directory. It's a critical to our organization side. In the similar way, domain controller, it is also very critical to our organization. DNS. So once again, this DNS, basically private DNS. As we discussed already, DNS server. Every organization, it will maintain the 4 different types of DNS servers. 2 are private DNS servers and 2 are public DNS servers. So private DNS servers will keep under the trust zone of the server LAN segmentation. That is called primary private DNS server. In the similar way, secondary private DNS server. Then where we can keep our public private DNS server and public secondary DNS server under the non-critical servers. So this is the way we have to do the segmentation part. So next one is DHCP. It will allocate IP address automatically, and SMTP server. So SMTP server is mainly for the sending the emails and receiving the emails. EDR tool, if it is on-premise only. If it's on-premise, we have to deploy in our trust zone. And database servers, obviously database is very important organization server. And non-critical application, sorry, critical application, it is not facing to the internet. Okay, so for example, maybe we are developing couple of application and also products or mobiles or OT or IoT devices. That development environment part of the SDLC lifecycle is very, very important. We should not expose those SDLC lifecycle part of the different types of phases. So those servers are very critical to our nation. Why? Because so we have the CI/CD pipeline coding part, and also we have the testing part, and also we have the design level architects related to whatever products or mobiles or OT or IoT or applications we are defining. So those servers basically it is non-facing to the internet. So these are all servers will fall under the critical server LAN. So this one once again it is a like a internal or trust zone. So these are a couple of examples for the trusted zone critical servers. Every organization it will maintain. Not only this one, even file servers. File servers is one of the very, very important server. Wherever projects we are working on, all those files we will store. It's like a centralized file server where we can go and we can store our files. So in the similar way, any Windows or Linux servers also we can keep it here. So that is about server LAN. So second thing is that particular connection we have to give to access switch, from access switch to core switch. And if you want distributor switch, in between access switch and core switch, we will define one more distributor switch as well. It's completely depending on our requirement basically. If it is small and medium based companies, normally will not purchase the distributed switch. So next one is core switch. Core switch after that it's a router. Router also we can call it as a layer 3 switch, and these two are layer 2 switches. And the next one is network IDS and network IPS. It's a network intrusion detection system and a network intrusion prevention system. Next one is a proxy server or web gateway or secure web gateway or application gateway. Next one is next generation firewall or firewall. Next one is ISP router. Next one is internet. So next generation firewall, there are two different firewall every organization it will maintain. So one is perimeter level firewall or internet facing firewall. Internet facing firewall always we have to deploy in the DMZ or DMZ zone. Why? Because first entry point of any traffic if you want to enter into our organization, it will route by a next generation firewall or any firewall basically. Then where we have to keep our internal firewalls. So as I said, there are two different types of firewall. Couple of organizations will maintain, couple of organizations will not maintain. It depends on completely budget. In case, so any organization is maintaining the internal firewall also, then that internal firewalls we have to deploy in between core switch and router. For example, big companies like telecom based companies and banking sector companies, healthcare based. So this is internal firewall. So internal firewalls we can deploy here using switch mode or layer 2 mode. And this particular next generation firewall in the perimeter side, so compulsory VPN and also internet is a mandatory. We have to deploy this particular firewall as a layer 3 mode or else root mode. Okay, so now ISP router, what it will do, it will provide obviously internet to our organization, and internet, it's like a our public network or internet. And the public will sit here outside of the organization. So in the public or external or untouched zone, and attackers and hackers also will sit here. So if we want to deploy any anti-DOS and anti-DDoS tools as well for this particular architecture diagram, so what we have to do, in parallel to ISP router, we have to deploy anti-DOS and anti-DDoS tool like Akamai, Barracuda, Imperva, WebSense. So these are the couple of tools. ISP router itself, when the traffic is entering, any flooding category of the attack it's happening, or spoofing category of the attack it's happening. So same traffic, it will go to ISP router along with our anti-DOS and anti-DDoS tool. And so it can identify based on the signature and based on the machine learning capability, either it will allow the traffic or block the traffic or deny the traffic. So this is the way how anti-DOS and anti-DDoS tool we have to deploy in parallel to ISP router. And email gateway and also SaaS based tools if we are using, as I said, we have to deploy in parallel to next generation firewall part of DMZ or DMZ zone, like as I mentioned previously. So email gateways nowadays, almost email gateways, it is coming via SaaS based application. So what is my SaaS based is software as a service, pay as you go. So whatever service we are utilizing, for that one we have to pay. That is called pay as you go, one of the terminology in the cloud environment. There is no need to maintain any infrastructure. There is no need to maintain any databases or applications and so on. Just it's a service basically. So in the even vulnerability management tools as well, nowadays our EDR tools also, most of the cases it is coming via SaaS based only. So those things we can deploy here directly. So otherwise, if we are using on top of the physical server any EDR deployment, yes, we have to deploy here. So it depends on our organization requirement, whether we are going for the SaaS-based tools or else on-premise deployments, completely depending on our requirement. Most of the banking sector and healthcare sector and also finance sector and so defense sector, all the ministries, all the public sector companies, they will not prefer cloud-based solution because cloud can be accessed by shared responsibility or private cloud or public cloud or maybe multi-tenant architecture. So that is the reason these particular business vertical, just now whatever I have mentioned, those people always they will give priority to so completely on-premise deployments only in their data center. Now coming back, so every employee where they will sit under the in between access switch or distributor switch or else maybe access switch and core switch. So here laptop, MacBook, workstation, desktop, these people. Now we can discuss about couple of architecture as well. Network three-tier architecture. What is meant by network three-tier architecture? So from the perimeter to if we are going the traffic from internal side, next generation firewall, secure web gateway or proxy, and also network IDS, network IPS. These three deployments. So if you are deploying in any organization, that is called as a network three-tier architecture. So it's not a mandatory, it's a completely depending on our budget, once again, completely depending on our business requirement. But as per securities best practices, it is defined by ISC Square, European Council, and ISACA. It's better to maintain every organization network three-tier architecture diagram. Okay, so meaning here, next generation firewall is the first entry point to detect and block any category of the attack. That may be malware category in the network side. In the similar way, URL filtering or web filtering, and also network DLP, and also any malware category of the attack and spoofing and flooding, everything, almost all the category of the attacks can be prevented and monitored and blocked by our next generation firewall. So that is the reason always a next generation firewall, we have to keep it as a first entry point in the perimeter, and also it is facing to the internet side. So next one is a proxy. This proxy, obviously what it will do, it will take care of the any websites allowing and also blocking, nothing but whitelisting and blocklisting based on our business requirement. First, we should understand So all the end users and with whom we are doing business and who are all our stakeholders and who are all our vendors and which websites or applications needed for our organization. According to that one, we can go and we can define our policies in the secure web gateway or proxy server or else so application gateway. So that is importance of the proxy. What proxy it will do whenever any end user is trying to access any website, it is located in the external or untouched zone here. So always that request will go via access switch, core switch, router, NADS, NAPS, proxy, and proxy it will validate whether the end user is accessing malicious website or non-malicious website, legitimate or illegitimate. In case if it is legitimate, so it will do the whitelisting of the respective website or application, then it will forward to next generation firewall. The next generation firewall, once again, it will validate whether it is a malicious content is existing or not. Why? Because next generation firewall has one of the option name is called URL filtering or web filtering or content filtering or blind cloud URL filtering. These many options are available. So this one also it will validate once again. Now, finally, these devices are concluded that there is no illegitimate activity and there is no non-malicious activity. So finally, users are able to access the respective websites or application. In case it is illegitimate or non-malicious website, so obviously proxy can detect or maybe block. In the similar way, next generation firewall has a capability proxy as well. It will detect and block. So that is one of the example. In the similar network IDS and network IPS, in the networking side, any intrusion related abnormal or malicious or suspicious category of the attacks, especially flooding categories like TCP flooding, UDP flooding, sync flood, MAC flood, ARP flood. So IP flood, ping of death, ping flood, ICMP. So those flooding category, along with that one malware category, DOS and DDoS category of the attack, spoofing category of the attacks, we have to create a couple of policy in the network IDs and network IPS. So basically, this particular traffic we can consider in the network side as a data at a transit level. So what is meant by data at rest and data at a transit level? When the data is not moving here and there, it is a fixed, that is called data at rest. Then what is meant by data at a transit or data at a transfer level? The data is moving from one location to another location. For example, maybe you are accessing one of the website. So obviously that is like data at a transit level. Maybe you are sending one of the email or receiving one of the email. So that is called data at a transit level. So those type of network related traffic, these three devices can be monitored and also based on the policies configured, either it will detect or alert or block or deny the respective traffic. So that is on the network. So these three devices we can call it as network three-tier architecture tools or devices. And so coming back here, web application firewall. So what is this web application firewall will do? Web application firewall, it will prevent and block all OWASP top 10 category of the attacks. So especially like application side, we have couple of attacks like SQL injection attack, cross-site scripting attack, broken authentication, broken access control, insecure design, CSRF attack, SSRF attack, man in the middle attack, session hijacking. All those OWASP top 10 category of the attacks can be monitored and also prevented and also blocked or allowed. So based on the signature and based on the machine learning or behavioral pattern can be done by web application firewall. But nowadays, because of the microservices application platform, so web application firewall, if are implementing, that is not sufficient as per the application security point of view. So as I said in the demo class and also in the course content, whatever we discussed, is we can use web application firewall additional layer security control, but part of the secure SDLC life cycle. So each and every phase of the secure SDLC life cycle, that may be application or product or mobile or OT or IoT deployments. So we should take care of the respective. So security designing, threat modelings, and scanning of the programming languages or development scans or third-party scans and vulnerability assessment and pen test. So this is web application firewall. It will act like a so entry point of any WASP top 10 category of the attack should be identified, monitored, detected, alerted, and prevented, and blocked are allowed. So that is the functionality of web application firewall. Coming back here, email gateway. What is this email gateway? It will do any phishing email category of the attacks. It will happen. So that particular email, it will come to internet. So because attacker is sitting here, and he will send one of the phishing email via spear phishing or whaling or maybe malicious URL link or malicious malware attachment. That email will come to internet. From internet it will come to ISP router. From ISP router it will come to next generation firewall. The next generation firewall, it will reroute to email gateway. Then email gateway, what it will do, it will verify sender policy framework, and also it will verify DMARC and DKM, return path, message ID, content ID, network ID. So IP address validation, domain validation. Based on these parameters, either that particular email, it will be considered as a spammed email, or maybe it is quarantined email, or maybe it is a clean email or safe email or allowed email. So that is the functionality of the email gateway. Okay. So non-critical servers, I said already. So coming back here, endpoints. So whatever endpoints are end user machines we are using in the organization point of view. So those endpoints like laptop, MacBook, workstation, even servers also we have to consider as endpoints. For those endpoints, we have to implement security controls. So these endpoints, whatever security controls or solutions we are implementing, so those solutions we will call it as endpoint protection, EPP, or else endpoint security solution. So coming back, endpoint security solutions are, so we have antivirus or EDR or XDR. So that is the first solution. We have host IDS and host IPS, host intrusion detection system, host intrusion prevention system. In the similar way, endpoint DLP, for example, peripheral control or device control, copying something through pen drives or memory stick or external hard disk. So anything that is on the endpoint DLP. In the similar way, data at rest encryption, like a disk encryption. So or maybe voice encryption. In that scenario, we have to make that one is endpoint security solution. And last one is file integrity monitoring. Even whatever files, whenever we are downloading as a driver downloads, or maybe clicking on the malicious malware attachment, and also we even if we are copying something through pen drives or memory stick, in that scenario, we have to verify that particular file has any malicious content is existing via hash value. So attacker is adding or modifying or updating of the hash value. Also, we have to verify. So these 5 solutions will fall under the endpoint security solution, and we have to implement these solutions to endpoints or end user machines or host machines and servers as well. So that is called endpoint security. And so, as I said, network IDS, network IPS, proxy, next generation firewall, these 3 will fall under the perimeter security or network security. And email gateway, it will fall under the phishing email security. And web application firewall will fall under the application security. And all these servers, if you are doing the monthly once at least scan, it depends once again whether if you want to do the scanning in the monthly wise or else quarterly wise. It depends completely on the organization to organization. So if you are scanning all these servers and identifying is there any vulnerabilities are existing, that is called as a vulnerability management. And also we have to take care of the patch management as well. So physical security, obviously physical security where we can keep. So we can do the survey and how many cameras are required according to our building construction. We can go and we can deploy our cameras, our access controls, and also biometrics, or even ID cards. So wherever it is required, so we can keep that particular. So all this physical security control in the building, that is physical security point of view. So that is about overall. And in case any application is migrating from on-premise to cloud environment, in that scenario, we have to take care of the cloud security assessment and also application security assessment. If it is existing customer, they are migrating application to cloud. So that is one thing. Maybe straight away one of the startup company, they don't want any data center. Directly they want place all the applications in the cloud itself. So just we will take care of the cloud security assessment and application security assessment, and will not validate any existing security controls. Everything, whatever services are providing by the cloud service provider, like Amazon Web Services or Oracle or GCP or Alibaba or maybe Microsoft Azure and so on. So in the similar way, same way, whatever application we are hosting in the cloud as well, we have to make sure that as per Cloud Security Alliance, we should go and we should verify a couple of application security controls part of the SDLC lifecycle. So that is the here I almost covered everything. So almost all the security technologies. This particular diagram looks very simple, but it will give lot of technical and lot of security technologies. I forgot to say one more thing is information security. So information security, obviously it's organization security. It's a part of GRC, governance, risk and compliances. Every organization has a strategy, vision and mission, and they have business objectives and business goals. So whatever business objectives and business goals respect to organization do they have according to that one, so they will go and they will see what type of complaints they have to follow, and so how we can take care of the risk assessment. So is there any disaster recovery site we have to deploy, and what is the business continuity planning, and also what is the incident management process we have to define. So all those things will fall under the information security part of GRC. So that is about overall simple network architecture diagram. It will give the so much knowledge of the multiple security technologies. I will repeat once again. For server LAN, we have to take care of the vulnerability assessment and vulnerability management. Nothing but scanning of the servers and taking care of the patch management. It's a completely depending on the organization. What is the patch policy they are following? What is the frequency of the servers? We have to scan it. So that is vulnerability management or vulnerability assessment. Infrastructure security. What is meant by infrastructure security? So we should take care of all these things in the on-premise or data center, and wherever and whenever it is required, if we are implementing sufficient access controls or else tools or solutions, that entire thing we can call it as a so infrastructure security. Coming back here, endpoint security. Endpoint security, whatever security solutions or controls, if are implementing on the endpoint side, we can call it as a endpoint security. Those solutions are antivirus, it's a traditional one, and current generation of the virus, whatever we are using, that is called EDR solution or XDR solution. Inbuilt EDR and XDR has a capability of HIDS, HIPS capability, and also encryption, not encryption. So file integrity monitoring capability as well. And also on the endpoint side itself, along with the servers, we have to take care of the endpoint DLP and also data at a rest encryption, like a disk encryption or voice encryption or database encryption. So that is on the endpoint security side. So these are all network devices. I am not going to discuss that one. These devices can be configured and also can be troubleshooted, can be debugged in case any issues will occur, done by our network engineers. Access switch, core switch, routers, SD-WAN, load balancers can be taken care by network engineers. On next generation firewall, our internal firewall, it's not a mandatory. That's what I said. So in case if you need any defense in depth controls like additional layer or security control, it's better to have internal firewall as well. But we have to think out our budget also. So whether we have really revenue generating or not, whether we have sufficient budget is there or not. So everywhere we can go and we can purchase the tool and we can deploy it depending on so our organization and also how much revenue are generating. Based on the profits and losses, we have to make sure that what type of tools we have to deploy. So these are all network security tools or perimeter security tools on the network facing side or perimeter facing side or internet facing side. Those three solutions are NIDS, NAPS, proxy, next generation firewall. For phishing email, we will take care of the phishing email security solution or email gateway or email security solution, that is called email gateway. For application security side, we will take care of the web application firewall. Along with that one, even part of the secure SDLC life cycle, we have to make sure that each and every phase of the secure SDLC life cycle, we have to implement security solutions and also tooling part, scanning part, penetration testing or vulnerability assessment and so on. So that is applicable to even product development, mobile development, OT or IoT development as well. So next one is physical security. As I said, in case our physical building where our employees are sitting, if you are deploying any biometric solutions or access cards and also signatures, or maybe CCTV cameras. All those things will fall under the physical security point of view. Information security, as I said earlier, anything organizations objectives and goals, and what type of business they are doing, and what type of compliance they have to follow, and the business continuity planning and disaster recovery side will take care of the information security part of GRC. So in case organizations we are using wireless or Wi-Fi, because nowadays every organization is providing Wi-Fi as well, we have to take care of the wireless security also, and we have to deploy access points based on the after doing the survey. So this particular overall designing of any organization in the diagrammatic way or design way, we can call it as a network architecture diagram, or else cloud architecture diagram if it is cloud environment. So that's all about overall part. There are a lot of definitions are there here. What is meant by inbound traffic and what is meant by outbound traffic? What is meant by net flow data? What is network three-tier architecture? And what are three different type zones every organization it will maintain? And also what email gateway it will do? And additionally, what is demilitarized zone or DMZ zone? So whenever any inbound traffic coming via email, how it will route. Whenever any outbound email is going, how it will route. So I will explain now. Yeah, if it is a WAF, if you are using for SaaS based, we can keep it in DMZ zone. In case if you are using on-premise side, we have to deploy in the trust or internal zone. It depends. That's what I said. If you are using SaaS based, most of the cases we can deploy in the DMZ or DMZ. So let's go and see. I will go back to our folder. So for this one, I'll create a new page. Then I'll move it here. So I'm giving network architecture diagram. So first one is what is meant by network architecture diagram? Designing of all the organization pictorial organization security solution diagrammatic way or pictorial representation is called as network architecture diagram. So under this one, so every network architecture diagram, it will follow three different types of zones. So those zones are, first one is internal. This is also called as a trust. Second one is DMZ or DMZ. So full form is demilitarized zone. Entire question, guys, this one. So third one, untrust or public or internet or external. So these are three different types of zones. So I want to add one more thing here. As per Cisco, so these three different types of zones from firewall concept wise, they given some of the score. So now think like this one is your home. And where is your home? This is your home, nothing but our internal or trust zone. So this is like your gate or fencing or wall. or kanche or whatever in front of your house. This is like a road or street in front of the public. I mean, it's a public road basically in front of your house. Now, as from the thief or robbering point of view, so what is the score you can give for the trust zone wise? Any idea out of 100? I'm repeating once again. So example, this consider this is entire architecture diagram like your house. Internal and trust zone, it's like your own home. And DMZ or DMZ, it's like a boundary in front of your house. Obviously, will keep like a wall or fencing. Okay, so our gate. This is like our so wall or fencing or gate, and this is our public street. Okay, or road. Now keep that one in mind. So all of your furniture and also your kitchen and also your bedroom and also your hall and your TV, your sofa, your air conditioner, everything will be there in the home. For example, one of the thief is entering into your home and he wants to, okay, so steal something. From that particular thief point of view, so what is the trust score you will give? So whether you will give 100 or 50 or 0? Anyone?
As of now, zero.
Sorry?
Zero. Because we have a protection of DMZ and he need to break the DMZ protection and then he need to enter, right? So it will be like I mean not at all possible to him to go through it like for chasing all this.
Yeah, that's correct. So that is the reason. So always he should not steal our data or he should not take our furniture, whatever. So it should be protected 100% our furniture. So this score 100. So internal or trust score is always 100 and DMZ or DMZ. So maybe it's like in between both of so trust and untrust. So this score we can define like a 50-50 and untrust. So this is public road or transport. So everybody can use, okay, so everybody can walk. So can we go and can we, okay, so scold them, anyone in the public? No, right? So as
No.
per the score point of view, it's a 0. So this particular score is defined by Cisco. So I took just a normal example only, but this is the way how we have to prevent our organization from the attacker point of view. He should not steal our data. And so wherever the data we are deploying, so internal zone always we have to safe and secure, and we have to make sure that data exploitation should not be happen. So that's why it's 100, and DMZ or DMZ, it's like a 50-50 in between. So next one is untrust. So obviously attacker will sit in the public itself. It's like a 0 score. Now what is mean by DMZ or DMZ?
Sir, like, yeah, okay. Like, my question is related to that only because in general scenario, what we'll do, like, I mean, I'm telling in the server perspective view, like, if it is on DMZ and if it is a DMZ zone means like, it is a specialized or containerized zone, like, you will get limited access to the limited persons.
Yeah.
But
So
as
in
said, like trustworthy will be 50%. How come? I'm not sure, sir. Like here in this scenario.
so in this scenario, this is, as I said, this is a complete Cisco terminology only. I said, yeah, even though it's a contained zone or DMZ zone. So here we will keep. So example, take your home itself. So gate is there. Maybe in front of the gate, watchguard is not watchguard. Security guard is not there, and also CCTV cameras are not there. Whether any thief is entered into your home or not. So 50% of gate it will be there. Okay, so to your home and 50% in the public. So yeah, sufficient controls. Maybe server point of maybe it is different, but as per the Cisco terminology in the firewall concept wise, so this is the score. It is defined like a 50-50. And here that see whenever we'll say 50-50, that doesn't mean that we have to expose our data. We have to implement our sufficient security controls. We can make sure that safeguard our data and safeguard our servers, safeguard our information and so on. Clear? Yeah. DMZ or DMZ. So DMZ or DMZ, it's a demilitarized zone. So for example, it's like a boundary in between trust and untrust zone. For example, Navy or BSPF or CSPF team, they will sit in our say country boundary. So they will act like a preventive mechanism for one country to another country. So same way, so it's like a boundary in between trust and untrust zone. That particular zone, we can call it as a DMZ or DMZ zone. This particular word came from the military. So that's why it is called as a demilitarized. It will act as a boundary between trust and untrust zone. Okay, so that is DMZ. Next one is endpoint security side. So what are the different types of solutions we have to implement? So first thing is antivirus. It's anyway outdated already. It's a traditional antivirus. So we have to implement EDR, endpoint detection response, and we have to implement XDR, extended detection response. In-depth analysis we can see within 1 week. Next one is endpoint DLP. So we have to implement data loss or data leak prevention, and HIDS, HIPS, host intrusion detection system and host intrusion prevention system. So till 2019 or 2020, HIDS, HIPS has a separate solution basically. But once EDR and XDR came into the market, there is no need to implement separate HIDS, HIPS capability. Directly, whatever EDR product development they are doing or XDR product development they are doing, they have inbuilt capability to identify abnormal, malicious, or suspicious activity on the host side. So there is no need to separately we have to implement HIDS, HIPS nowadays. Next one is file integrity monitoring on the endpoint side. Once again, so whatever files end user is accessing part of the OS side, or maybe drive-by downloads, or maybe clicking on the malicious malware attachment, or maybe copying some of the files through pen drives, we have to monitor. So whether he is doing adding or updating or deleting or modifying the data. So for traceability from the internal employee point of view, and also from the attacker point of view, is there any malware category of the attacks are entering into the organization? And as per cyber kill chain process, that files are executing, and also it is installing the malware and it is trying to get compromised. So that is the reason we have to take care of the file integrity monitoring solutions as well. Dedicated to FIM also, we have a lot of vacancies. Next one is data at rest. The data at rest solution, we can call it as encryption part. So here example of data at rest encryption. So here data is not moving here and there unless otherwise we are carrying away our laptop, and anyway server will not move and database will not move. So disk encryption or voice encryption will fall under data at rest. So why it will be needed, and why and what is the practical use for this particular data at rest case scenario? Physical theft or physical damage it's happened, we have to implement couple of security solution to make sure that, so whatever encryption we are doing, like providing key or password. So for example, BitLocker or Trend Micro or Symantec or McAfee. So these are all the couple of solutions. We can make sure that whatever data we are storing in the either D drive or C drive or E drive, part of our endpoint system. In the similar way, server side disk we have to encrypt. In the similar database side data also we have to encrypt. That is database encryption part. So those things will fall under the data at rest encryption side. So these things we have to consider as a endpoint side, and data transit we will keep under the networking side. So these are all the endpoint security solution everywhere. As I said, we have pre-sales concept, nothing but we have to take care of the POC, proof of concept. Whenever if we want to implement any solution, first thing is we have to test that solution in our environment. So testing the solution in our environment, we can call it as POC, proof of concept. We have another POC also, point of contact, and we have Spock as well, single point of contact. I'm not speaking about Spock or point of contact. Here, whatever POC I'm speaking, it's about so proof of concept. So that is like a pre-sales kind of thing. And every solution has a design. It's like architecture. So whenever any customer or any product development company has any security solution, we have to gather the requirement, and according to the customer requirement and according to the deployment wise, according to the compliances, whatever they are following, according to the whatever business they are doing, we have to design the respective security solution. That is on the design level. So next one is implementation. Whatever solution we are providing, we have to make sure that we have to implement that solution either in the on-premise or else cloud or maybe SaaS based and so on. So that is on the implementation. Finally, every solution has a continuous monitoring 24/7 into 365 days. That is like a operational support like L1, L2, and L3. All these solutions we have all these multiple vacancies just now whatever I discussed. Dedicated to endpoint side. Same thing is applicable to network. Same thing is applicable to so cyber security. Same thing is applicable to infrastructure. Same thing is applicable to cloud. Same thing is applicable to OT, IoT, and so on. In the similar way, application security as well. So next one, network security. So here, as I said, we have to implement. This is also called as a perimeter security. So under this one, we have next generation firewall. Prior to next generation firewall, we can call it as, we called it as UTM or firewall. But current generations of firewall, we'll call it as a next generation firewall. Current generation of antivirus, we can call it as next generation antivirus. That is nothing but EDR. Current generations of SIM tools, we can call it as next generation SIM tool. It has advanced capability. And next one is a proxy or web gateway. So this is also called as SWG, secure web gateway. So next one is network IDS and network IPS. So even proxy capability, network IDS, network IPS capability also can be done by our next generation firewall. But it will not do full-fledged capability. It will do only 70%, something like that. So that is the reason we have to implement a defense in depth layer approach control. What is meant by this defense in depth layer control? If one control is attack is bypassing, second control or solution will come into picture as a preventive mechanism. If secondary solution also attack is bypassing, third security solution or third security control will come as a another layer approach. This particular layer approach we can call it is a defense in depth layer approach. Okay. Next one, this is also called as, these three solutions is also called as network three-tier architecture. So that is about network security and perimeter security. Next one is application security. So application security side, as I said, we have to implement web application firewall. It's automated tool based on the signature based and based on the machine learning capability. Whenever any input validation side, parameters, queries side, and also URL redirections, URL manipulation side, attacker is trying to do the WASP top 10 category of the attacks. Web application firewall, what it will do on the application layer 7 side, it will monitor or it will alert or it will block or prevent all those attacks. So not only that one, as a part of the application security, we have to make sure that what our application development we are making, part of the SDLC life cycle, that one we can call it as a SSDLC life cycle. So each and every phase we have to implement security. So same concept is applicable to product security, this concept. So product has additionally infrastructure or raw material. In the similar way, this concept is applicable to mobile security. So this concept is applicable to whatever OT or IoT devices respective companies are developing. Or IIoT. So only development side I am speaking. Okay, so next one is cyber security. So the cyber security mainly 24/7 SOC operation using SIM tool. Whatever network we do have part of the on-premise or cloud, this entire network we have to monitor 24/7 into 365 days. It's a real-time monitoring. So completely based on the whatever ongoing threats are happening. So monitoring this entire network that may be on-premise and cloud from the attacker to prevent all those attacks, that thing we can call it is cyber security. So for that one, we'll use one of the tool. That tool name we can call it is SAM tool. Nowadays, SAM tool is inbuilt capability of threat hunting capability, UBA capability, and SOAR capability as well. So next one is vulnerability assessment or vulnerability management. This mainly for the server scanning side. I don't keep this. This is sub part of the infrastructure security. Whenever we are referring the infrastructure security, not only it will come as a vulnerability management and vulnerability assessment, but also it will come network security as well. And even organizations will treat cloud also like infra, and also information security also they will treat as a information security is our infrastructure security and so on. It depends. So next one is cloud security. Whenever any application we are hosting in the cloud environment, so and also whatever on-premise application we are migrating from on-premise to cloud environment, in that particular scenario, we have to make sure that we can use couple of solutions that may be whatever cloud service providers they are providing, like in native services we can call it as. Otherwise, so we can use on-premise solution reuse, or we can use third party BYOL, bring your own licenses. That is cloud part. For example, so I will give mixture of both Azure and Amazon Web Services, NACL, security groups, Azure or AWS firewall, Azure Security Center, KMS or Key Vault, AWS Inspector. So DOS and DDoS tools. So guard duty, identity and access management, Azure Sentinel. So there are so many services are there. So it depends on, okay, these are all I given both mixture of both Amazon Web Services and Azure. Same thing is applicable to Oracle Cloud, that is called OCI, Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. In the similar way, Alibaba and also we have other cloud service providers as well. So if are using these services, we can call it as a native services. But couple of times what will happen? So this is called by default services, whatever these cloud services providers are providing. But these default services or native services don't have sufficient features or sufficient controls basically. For example, I will give practically guard duty from Amazon. So guard duty in Amazon, it's like a SIM tool. So it is a log collection. It will do. It will take care of the monitoring part of the entire Amazon cloud environment. But unfortunately, they don't have sufficient. Okay, so identification of the threats whenever any hacking is happening in the cloud side. But on the other hand, Azure Sentinel. So Azure Sentinel has little bit more capability as compared to AWS Guard Duty. So this in this scenario, what I will do, I don't want to go for AWS Guard Duty. Then what I will do, I will go for some other third-party tool, maybe Splunk, or maybe Azure Sentinel, or maybe I will go with Exabeam, or maybe I will go to Logarithm. So purchasing that particular licensing and utilizing in our cloud environment, or maybe on-premise environment, we can call it as BYOL. That is called bring your own license. It's like a third party. So those solutions also, according to the features point of view, we have to validate which feature is suitable for our environment. So whether it's a third party like a BYOL or native service, it's sufficient. According to that one, we can go and we can implement the solutions in the cloud side. Next one, physical security, you know already this one. Biometrics. So CCTV cameras, access cards. Okay, so fingerprints and everything will fall under physical security. Next one, information security. So anyway, it's a part of GRC, governance, risk and compliances. In this one, we'll take care of the BCP and DR, business continuity planning and disaster recovery. We'll take care of the incident response for any organization, and also we'll take care of the risk assessment. So that is about overall related to that particular architecture, whatever we discussed. And additionally, couple of other definitions also I'll provide. Defense in depth control. What is meant this defense in depth control or defense in layer approach? If one security control or layer is bypassing by an attacker, another security control or solution will prevent. If other security control also bypassing by an attacker, third layer will come as a preventive solution. This particular approach we can call it as, this layered approach is called as defense in depth approach. So I will give one more assessment here that is called gap assessment or gap analysis. In the couple of interviews, they'll expect whenever you will join in a company, within 3 months, what will you do? Within 6 months, what will you do? Within 1 year, what will you do? So for this one, how to answer basically, so you have to use one of the word or a terminology that is called gap analysis. Okay. So what is meant by this gap analysis? We have to analyze what are the current security controls are there in place and what all it is missing and how to implement those solutions for future. I will do the assessment, and according to whatever missing things are there, I can implement as a short 3 months notice or 6 months and maybe 1 year. So this particular assessment I will do, and according to the gaps whatever I identified, I can go and I can analyze and I can implement respective security solution. That particular analysis we can call it as gap assessment. So in simple words, how we can define this one? What is the current state of the? Yes, it is. It is all layers. So gap analysis mainly for current state of the security posture to where we want to achieve. That is called desired state of the security posture. That is called gap analysis. So this is what you have to give the, please remember this word gap analysis. Okay. Next one is application three-tier architecture. We discussed about network three-tier architecture, next generation firewall, proxy, network IDS and network IPS. Application three-tier architecture. So whenever any DevOps guy or whenever any application developers or product developer, if they will go for any interview, maybe we can expect this question. So what is meant by application three-tier architecture? So application three-tier architecture contains, there are three layers once again. Those three tiers are, first tier is user layer or user tier. Nothing but wherever user is providing input validation. So for example, take Gmail. You are entering username and password. That Gmail login page is called as user layer. A second one is business or logical layer or tier otherwise. So once you are giving the username and password in the Gmail, so whatever programming development there is for the Gmail development side. So going to the or opening inbox or opening to sent items, going to drops or composing the emails using iframes or whatever. So that particular programming language or logic, whatever it is defined using any programming language or development language, we can call it as business or logical layer. Programming or development language to design logic, to develop the logic. Obviously, last one is database layer. So database layer, it can verify the authenticity and also whether what type of data he can be accessed, whether he is available in or not. So that is authorization point of view. So these three layers will fall under the respective application three-tier architecture. Okay. Next one is inbound traffic. What is this inbound traffic? For example, go back to this particular diagram. So this is maybe one of the HR guy. Now this part of talent acquisition team. So one of the vacancy is there for the machine learning side. Now this talent acquisition team or HR guy, so they will go to either LinkedIn or else maybe Naukri. They have their agent username and password. So then they will try to see which skill set whenever any applies, whenever person is applying a job. Now where that Naukri and LinkedIn is normally sitting, it is untrust or else it is in the internet zone, LinkedIn or else Naukri. Now this particular HR guy will go and will see the skill set, what of job he's applied. He will try to download that particular resume and he will see the skill set. Now, when the HR is trying to go and access the LinkedIn or Naukri, how the traffic flow it will go. First it will go to access switch. From access switch, it will go to DNS server to do the DNS resolution part. Then it will come back to core switch. Then it will go to layer 3 switch. Then it will go to network IDS, network IPS. In the similar way, proxy, next generation firewall, and finally public internet where the end user is applied the job. So now the traffic is going away from HR, our internal zone to so untouched zone or internet zone. That is called as outbound traffic. Yes, sorry, it's outbound traffic. Okay. So outbound traffic, the traffic is going away from internal or trust to untrust or internet is called as outbound traffic. Okay. Now, same thing. Now, one of the end user or candidate wants to apply job in so and so company. So maybe take this one is a Honeywell organization. So this Honeywell organization architecture diagram is this one. And one of the product development based vacancy is applying related to data science. Now this candidate is sitting here. Our respective candidate maybe is experienced or fresher. So this one I can say job seeker. Now, whenever he is applying Honeywell careers page, the traffic how it will go. First, it will go to the internet. Then will go to ISP router of the Honeywell. Then it will go to next generation firewall. Then it will go to proxy server of the Honeywell, a network IDS and network IPS. Then router switch. Then finally, where the application is developed related to Honeywell careers page. Obviously, it is on top of the web server or app server. That may be Apache Tomcat or Windows IIS server or NGI NX server or Red Hat Enterprise Linux and so on. So now the traffic is coming from untrust to trust zone, part of the Honeywell. This particular traffic, we can call it as inbound traffic. The traffic is coming from untrust to trust zone is called as inbound traffic or incoming traffic, but don't use always please use technical terminology. Incoming traffic is not like a technical terminology. Inbound traffic. So now net flow data. What is this net flow data? The sum of these inbound traffic plus outbound traffic, we can call it as net flow data. Net is nothing but sum, right? Aggregation. Aggregating of inbound traffic and outbound traffic is called as net flow data. So this net flow terminology is provided by Cisco. Once again, in case if are using Cisco routers and switches, we can call it as net flow data. Cisco routers and Cisco switches, if we are using, we will call it as net flow data. In case if we are using Juniper routers or Juniper switches, JFlow data. Same. Combination of both inbound traffic and outbound traffic of the Juniper routers and switches, whatever it is providing. Then what is S flow data? Yes, otherwise we can say S flow data. In case our organization is using HP routers and HP switches. So then we'll call it as S flow data. What about IBM, Avaya, Hawaii, and so on? Same net flow data only. Avaya, Aruba, Hawaii, spelling wrong, I think. IBM, all these also we can call it as net flow data. Okay. So I think I completed. Yeah. So this is what, guys, overall network architecture diagram. This is the way how we can define overall design. That may be a startup company or existing design. If you want to change, we can change that one as well. For this one, couple of certifications also there. Okay. So that is about overall network architecture diagram. So tomorrow onwards, our main course content and syllabus will start. So tomorrow onwards, don't skip the classes. So till today, what are we discussed? It's a completely networking concepts. So maybe I will go and I'll re-verify whether I missed out something or not. Okay, in case if I don't missed out, then I will go for the network and cyber attacks. So tomorrow onwards, I will start completely security topics. First, we can discuss about network and cyber attacks. So whatever flooding category, spoofing, authentication failure, malware category, voice prompt category. Okay, so phishing email category and so on. So maybe I'll re-verify whether I missed out any networking concepts. So according to that one, we can go and we can continue our next classes. There is no evening class today, and tomorrow also I'm not sure, but I will let you know. Do you have any questions?
On this network security part, like, will we get like, could you please explain this network architecture, network architecture? Can we get such kind of questions? Because
No,
this
no, no.
kind of vast things need to be explained means like,
So basically, it depends.
yes, sir.
There are several vacancies are there. This is what I said. So this is multiple security technologies we discussed. It's more than 8 to 10 in between. So if you are going for cyber security SOC operation, except what is meant by firewall, what is meant by proxy, what is the difference between network IDs and network IPS. Other than these 3 to 4 questions, they will not expect anything. If you are going for dedicated to firewall vacancy, like firewall level 1, level 2, level 3 controls or implementation, or else maybe design side, then dedicated to firewall related concepts they will expect. In the similar way for EDR. So whatever we are designing the course content I provided, it's not for single vacancy. If you are going for only dedicated to cyber security, I no need to teach all these basically. Directly I will complete all the networking concepts, and after that I will go to cyber security sim tool and course content is over. So this course I designed for the multiple security technologies. At least one person is not able to crack SOC operations, maybe he can crack on the EDR vacancy, maybe he can crack on the endpoint security, or maybe he can crack in the network security, or maybe he can crack on the directly auditor as well. Clear? Coming back to your question, so it's like a vast, you are right, because everything is like one ocean. Endpoint security is one ocean, network security is one ocean, application security is one ocean, information security, OT and IoT, cyber security, vulnerability management, everywhere we have vacancies. So whenever you are keeping your resume also, so I will say that one later, don't worry. Any other?
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Any other?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, please.
Sir, show the diagram, network diagram.
Yeah, please.
According to this, access a website which is deployed inside the server LAN. He has to pass all the stages of, like next gen firewall, proxy, nits and hips, routers, all. He
Yeah.
may do to access that particular website inside our server LAN DNS. He may get or he may do some SQL injection or cross-site scripting to our server. How can we protect from an external user?
Yeah, so this is basically, it's not about only following this particular network architecture diagram. So website basically contains about, so wherever user input validation is required. For example, HDFC Bank. So HDFC Bank, it is existing. All obviously we will enter the username or user ID and password, and he will try to use different types of combinations and permutations. Is there any SQL injection is possible on the backend database side? You will try to see that in case whatever HDFC Bank application developers or application development team, they did not define the proper way of the functions or arrays or characters or what are programming language they used. In that scenario, so he will try to do injection of that particular query as a untrusted data or query injection part, and directly he will try to inject that query injection part. So that is the reason to eliminate this particular drawback. Even though this is a part of our network architecture diagram, we can make sure that part of the SQL injection category of the attacks, not only just we have to use web application firewall, not only we have to use this particular architecture design, whatever right now I'm showing, because to facing to the internet. So additionally, even we have to verify each and every phase. Is there any SQL enumeration can be done by the external attacker using injection, whatever he is trying to use, either it is LDAP or OS or maybe SQL and so on. Okay.
Yes, sir. But we are allowing the external user to access our website. Suppose
Yes, obviously. So if you want to transfer the money, so we'll obviously, so we have to give the access to the end user. If you want to access the Facebook, so for maybe friends, maybe if you want to maintain the friends and so on, or maybe you want to maintain the, so you are uploading of the photos and downloading of the photos, we have to give the access facing to the internet.
okay,
So that is the reason our application development part of the SDLC life cycle should be strong in nature, but most of the companies are missing that one. Any other? Yeah, someone is asking about defense in depth layer control. So voice, whatever defense in depth control we are using, it is applicable to all the voice layers, not about only dedicated to one network. It's applicable to all voice layers. Any other?
Sir, what are the certifications, sir?
Certifications on the basic one, we can use it. Certified ethical hacker from the European Council, or maybe Compatia A+. That is also from, I think, European Council. Next one is from ISAC or ISC Square side. We have SOC analyst direct. Okay, certification is there. So all these certifications, it is a completely valid international companies as well. So don't do any vendor related certification. It's better you can do completely international acceptable certificates.
Can we have a guidance on the particular to do some 1 or 2 certifications?
Yeah, so better you can go with first initially certified ethical hacker. So just you can go through whatever I'm saying in the class. Additionally, maybe server enumeration techniques, it will miss out, I think. And so just you can go through the dumps and directly you can write the exam. 100% you will pass the exam. There is no need to take separate course.
Okay, sir. Like where to get, how to get. So these guidance are required. So I'll connect one to you so that.
Yeah, that's fine. Anyway, for certificate, separate session is there.
And then
So,
that's fine. Then that's fine, sir.
Yeah, we have separate session is there for certificates. Yeah. Any other guys? Anything? Okay, then. So I will let you know tomorrow whether I will take the class or not. So, and please go through all these. In this week, I'm not able to take mock interviews. Next week, I will take mock interviews as well. So that is nothing but August 10th and 11th. Okay.
Okay, okay, cool, sir.
Okay, sir.
Okay, guys. Then have a great day.
Thank you, Agya sir, and thank you, team, connecting with your ID numbers. Thanks a lot. And some people, you are not adding your IDs. So I'm sure on Monday onwards, I'll remove those who are not having ID numbers. If you're not having ID numbers, you can connect me, I'll provide you. Okay, right? Thank you.
Okay.